can't tell him that. I can't tell him.
You have to.
I can't. He's never gonna forgive this. How is he gonna forgive that?
She called me a liar. She called me a scammer.
Lisa thought she was investing in a dream, a future with someone she trusted completely. But what she didn't see coming was the shock that would shatter her world in an instant. Daniel allegedly living a double life while she poured $600,000 into their shared plans, believing every promise, every smile, every late-night conversation was building a foundation of love and trust. And yet, behind closed doors, things were far from what they appeared. I'm Lily. Welcome to Reality Drama Files. And before we go any further, make sure you subscribe and drop a comment telling me what you would do if you were in Lisa's shoes. Because this is one of those moments where even the smartest people can be caught completely off guard. Imagine thinking your relationship is solid, your investment secure, only to discover there might be a secret world your partner has been hiding. Small inconsistencies suddenly adding up into something massive. Calls that don't make sense, receipts that don't match, and every instinct screaming that something isn't right, yet still hoping, still believing, still wanting to see the best. How could someone so trusted, someone who shared laughter, plans, and even money, suddenly turn manipulative in ways you never imagined, exploiting the very faith that was supposed to protect the relationship? Lisa's story isn't just about heartbreak. It's about realizing that the person you thought was a partner could allegedly be orchestrating a life you had no part in. A web of deception that mixes emotional betrayal with financial loss, and as the layers peel back, the tension grows. Because now, it's not only about money or trust, it's about a new woman already stepping into a role that Lisa thought was hers. A looming presence that Daniel seems to welcome without hesitation, and you can't help but wonder how far the story will go. What's really hidden behind every smile, and if Lisa can even begin to reclaim the life that was being stolen from her. Can Lisa recover, or will the betrayal keep unfolding? Lisa didn't just give her money, she gave her heart, her time, and every ounce of hope she had for a life built together, believing that love, shared dreams, and mutual respect would guide the path forward. And yet the reality of investing so much emotionally makes people vulnerable in ways they often don't see until it's too late. Because when someone seems perfect, charming, attentive, and ambitious, the mind tends to filter out small inconsistencies, rationalize odd behavior, and convince itself that everything is part of a larger, loving plan. Even when tiny warning signs start appearing. From the very beginning, there were moments that could have raised eyebrows. Daniel's stories sometimes didn't align. He occasionally dodged conversations about money or future plans, and there were subtle shifts in tone or sudden defensiveness that, if noticed by an outsider, might have seemed suspicious, but to Lisa, they were just quirks of a man she loved. Small imperfections overshadowed by the fantasy of what she thought their life together would be. Psychologically, when someone invests deeply in another person, confirmation bias takes over. Every smile, every gesture that fits the dream reinforces belief, while every red flag is dismissed as minor, temporary, or even imagined. And that's exactly how Lisa found herself walking blindfolded into a storm she didn't see coming. Building plans, trusting advice, wiring money, believing promises, all while little cracks were forming in the foundation. Each one quietly signaling that something was off, but too subtle to confront alone. As the story moves forward, the tension rises. Because it's not only about betrayal behind closed doors, it's about a betrayal that's about to be exposed publicly. A humiliation that could make the private agony shock the world. And the question lingers, did those early warning signs mean anything? Or were they drowned out by the desire to believe in love? Did blind trust cost Lisa more than money? Daniel's charm was the kind that made people lean in, nod along, and forget to question. The kind that masks ambition with compliments, flattery, and promises that feel like safety nets. And yet, behind that polished smile, the pattern emerges. Calculated manipulation paired with selective transparency, where truths are revealed just enough to build trust, but not enough to expose the cracks in the foundation. And this is exactly what Lisa fell for. Because publicly, he appeared attentive, supportive, even romantic, creating a sense of security that made every red flag easier to dismiss. Watching the clips and interviews, the picture becomes clearer. He was strategic, carefully controlling narratives, presenting himself as someone willing to compromise while subtly keeping doors open elsewhere. The small inconsistencies in tone, timing, and excuses adding up to a behavioral pattern that screams caution, yet somehow passes under the radar of someone emotionally invested. Psychologically, people like Daniel exploit a common blind spot. When someone seems too good to be true, the mind often convinces itself it's real because hope and desire fill the gaps. And we rationalize contradictions as quirks, stress, or bad timing, never imagining that the person we admire could be orchestrating a life that includes someone else, money, and public perception all at once. The stakes rise when the evidence aligns. Social media posts, casual mentions in interviews, and subtle but repeated inconsistencies all point to a dual life that Lisa couldn't have prepared for. And while she struggles with heartbreak and financial loss, Daniel allegedly flaunts his new girlfriend, a young, energetic presence he's eager to showcase online, leaving viewers stunned and asking themselves how someone can be so careful, yet so reckless with other people's trust. Could anyone spot this betrayal before it exploded? At first, it was small things, a missed call here, a vague excuse there, but little by little, Lisa began noticing the cracks. The late-night calls that Daniel said were work started to feel suspicious, and the missing money added a new layer of dread she couldn't ignore. Each moment that once brought comfort now carried a shadow of doubt, and her mind raced with questions. Was she imagining things? Or was something bigger at play? The emotional tension grew like a storm on the horizon, paranoia mixed with fear, confusion battling hope, and every interaction with Daniel became a puzzle she couldn't solve. She started replaying conversations, analyzing tone, and questioning her own judgment, a common trap when someone you trust starts behaving inconsistently, because the mind looks for patterns even when the truth is messy. And the longer the patterns persist, the more the anxiety builds. As she searched for answers, social media chatter began to pick up. Fans, commentators, and former co-stars speculated, each post adding fuel to the fire, and soon the private doubts she carried were becoming public whispers. A chorus of speculation that amplified every insecurity and fear she felt. The sense of being watched, judged, and second-guessed left her in a state of emotional whiplash, caught between disbelief and the painful urge to confront reality. Then, the moment comes where the private nightmare turns into a public spectacle. Daniel's secrets start going viral. Little details and inconsistencies spreading across platforms, leaving viewers shocked and Lisa scrambling to process what she always suspected but never wanted confirmed. What will Lisa discover next? Will it destroy her completely? Everything Lisa feared now had a spotlight. Social media exploded with screenshots, rumors, and heated debates, turning private pain into a public spectacle. Every post, comment, and thread seemed to highlight her vulnerability, while some celebrated Daniel's audacity and others sympathized with her. The emotional weight of humiliation was crushing. Her trust had been weaponized, her financial and emotional investments dissected for everyone to see. Fans dissected past episodes, highlighting moments that, in hindsight, hinted at Daniel's duplicity, and each revelation made Lisa feel simultaneously exposed and powerless. The psychology of public betrayal is brutal. When your private pain becomes a shared drama, it amplifies guilt, shame, and anger, leaving the victim caught between defending themselves and processing shock. Lisa's sense of reality blurred. She had to navigate a world where everyone had an opinion and every judgment felt personal. The humiliation wasn't just about money or deceit. It was about being seen as naive, trusting, and somehow complicit in her own heartbreak. Friends and strangers alike weighed in, intensifying her internal conflict, and the pressure made each day harder to bear. Yet, amid the chaos, a spark of resolve began to form. She realized that controlling the narrative wasn't possible, but seeking justice might be. Legal action and confrontation started to emerge as potential paths to reclaim dignity, and whispers of lawsuits and courtroom battles began circulating alongside her story. As the tension builds, viewers can feel the stakes rising. Lisa's next move could define everything. A decisive moment where betrayal, revenge, and survival collide. Will justice finally catch up with Daniel? When Lisa finally faced Daniel, the tension in the room was almost unbearable. Every word he spoke seemed rehearsed, a mix of charm and deflection designed to make her question her own judgment. His manipulation tactics were subtle but powerful, shifting blame, twisting facts, and gaslighting her into doubting what she already knew. Lisa's frustration grew with every excuse he offered, but she also noticed patterns she hadn't seen before. How he layered truth with lies, sprinkled in vulnerability to disarm suspicion, and leveraged her empathy to keep her invested. Watching him perform, it became clear how someone can be so trusted yet so calculated, and why people fall for this type of charm repeatedly. Meanwhile, small inconsistencies she'd previously dismissed started clicking into place, revealing a deeper picture of deception than she imagined. Evidence she had only recently uncovered, bank statements, social media activity, and subtle public comments painted a story Daniel hadn't expected her to see. Every revelation felt like a punch to the gut, but it also sharpened her focus. Lisa realized this confrontation wasn't just about airing grievances, it was a battlefield of wits and nerve. Just as she thought she had a handle on the situation, an unexpected twist emerged. Something about Daniel's finances didn't add up, and hints suggested a completely new player in the story. A relationship or arrangement she had no idea existed. It was the kind of revelation that flips the narrative entirely, leaving both Lisa and the audience questioning everything they thought they knew. The stakes shot up instantly, transforming a personal betrayal into a tangled web with consequences no one could have predicted. Can Lisa outsmart Daniel? Or is she trapped? The reality of the $600,000 loss hit Lisa like a freight train. And it wasn't just the money, it was the trust, the time, and the emotional energy she had poured into a relationship she believed was real. Every transaction, every shared dream, every promise that once felt like a step toward a future together, now seemed like part of an elaborate trap. The numbers themselves were staggering, but what made it unbearable was how personal it felt. The betrayal cut deeper, because it came from someone she let into her life completely. The emotional toll wasn't something easily measured. Sleep became restless, simple decisions felt impossible, and even everyday moments were overshadowed by the anxiety of what had been lost. Her mind oscillated between anger, disbelief, and heartbreak. How could someone she loved so fully manipulate and deceive her? Why did she overlook the early signs, the subtle behavioral shifts, the little inconsistencies that now screamed warning? And yet, amid the despair, there was reflection. Lisa had to question not only Daniel's actions, but also her own blind trust. The psychology behind financial betrayal is brutal. When you invest both money and emotion, the stakes are higher and the fall feels heavier. This isn't just a story about dollars. It's about how people sometimes prioritize appearances over reality, and how easily we can be seduced by charm and ambition when it's mixed with vulnerability. Even as Lisa grappled with the loss, the world watched the contrast between Daniel's polished public persona and the reality behind closed doors. Online, he projected success, happiness, and charisma. But behind the scenes, manipulation and recklessness ruled. The disconnect was jarring, a reminder of how social media and public image can mask true intentions. Will Lisa ever see her money or her dignity again? Lisa refused to stay trapped in the aftermath of betrayal. Every call she ignored, every carefully considered decision, and every boundary she set became part of a larger fight to reclaim her life and dignity. Recovery wasn't instant. It never is, but she began taking concrete steps, documenting the financial damage, seeking advice, and making choices that prioritized her well-being over anyone else's approval. The shift was subtle at first. Where she once deferred to Daniel's charm, she now questioned motives and insisted on transparency. Her resilience was quietly growing, fueled by the lessons betrayal had forced upon her. Psychologically, what we see in Lisa is a transformation from vulnerability to empowerment. She recognized patterns she had missed before, the red flags, the manipulations, the slow erosion of trust, and used that knowledge to fortify herself. Emotional scars remained, but each scar became a reminder of strength, not weakness. The woman who had once trusted too easily was now setting boundaries and making choices deliberately. She was learning that empowerment isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming control over your life and refusing to be defined by someone else's deception. Comparing her past naivety with her current mindset highlights how betrayal can catalyze growth. The lessons were harsh, but Lisa's journey illustrates the power of self-awareness, courage, and decisiveness. While Daniel's actions once dictated her emotional state, now she dictated her own path, learning to separate his public image from reality. With every step forward, her confidence grew, and the world started to notice. Social media whispers began shifting. and cracks in Daniel's carefully maintained persona started to appear. Who will come out stronger in the end, Lisa or Daniel? The reactions were instantaneous and intense. Fans flooded social media with shock, disbelief, and anger, dissecting every clip and post that showed Daniel's behavior, and many sympathized with Lisa, sharing their own stories of trust gone wrong. Comments ranged from supportive advice to heated debates about whether love should ever mix with money, and the collective chatter highlighted just how relatable Lisa's experience felt to so many. People were fascinated not only by the scandal, but also by the psychology behind it, trying to understand how someone so charming could manipulate, deceive, and profit from trust. Daniel's behavior fits a pattern seen in many manipulative relationships. The initial over-the-top charm, the subtle gaslighting, the slow financial and emotional control, and the careful curation of his public persona to mask private deception. These traits often leave even intelligent and cautious people blindsided, especially when love and hope cloud judgment. By analyzing the sequence of his actions, viewers can recognize red flags, sudden secrecy, inconsistent stories, deflection when questioned, and flaunting wealth or attention from others while minimizing accountability. It's a stark reminder that manipulation is rarely obvious at first, and trust without verification can have serious consequences. For viewers, Lisa's story offers both caution and insight. Emotional investment is natural, but awareness, boundaries, and vigilance are essential. It's not about doubting love, but about protecting yourself from being exploited. The social media frenzy and public scrutiny amplified the lesson. Deception often thrives in secrecy, and exposing it can be a powerful step toward justice and personal growth. Just when it seemed the story was settling into predictable territory, Daniel allegedly made a shocking comeback that nobody saw coming, stirring fresh debate and leaving fans questioning everything they thought they knew. Would you have seen this betrayal coming? Lisa finally stands on the other side of the storm, stronger, wiser, and more aware of the people she trusts. The financial betrayal may have left scars, but her journey from naive optimism to empowered resilience shows a remarkable transformation. Justice, in its own slow way, begins to catch up. Court filings, public scrutiny, and media coverage force accountability, and Lisa's courage in sharing her story inspires countless viewers to question patterns of manipulation in their own lives. Watching her reclaim control over her finances, her narrative, and her emotional well-being highlights a key lesson. Trust must be earned, and self-respect is non-negotiable. Throughout this saga, Daniel's charm and manipulation reveal a consistent behavioral pattern. The sudden generosity, the attention, the carefully crafted image of success and reliability are hallmarks of someone skilled at exploiting trust for personal gain. Recognizing these signs, flattery mixed with secrecy, excuses that shift blame, and public displays that mask private deception, offers viewers practical insight into protecting themselves in relationships where love and money intersect. By seeing the full arc from blind trust to hard-won empowerment, the audience not only follows a gripping story, but also learns a subtle yet powerful blueprint for spotting manipulation before it escalates. Even as Lisa rebuilds, Daniel's public persona continues to clash with reality, fueling conversations, speculation, and viral debate across social media. Every twist in the saga reinforces that the consequences of deception ripple far beyond immediate finances or heartbreak. They reshape reputations, alliances, and public perception in dramatic ways. As one chapter closes, another is already stirring, with new developments, shocking alliances, and controversies hinting at fresh drama on the horizon. If you thought the story was intense, hold on. Our next video explores another explosive 90-day Fiancé drama that will test loyalties, reveal betrayals, and expose the shocking behavior fans can't stop talking about. The next shocking twist in 90-day Fiancé drama you cannot miss.